Monitoring, State Chairman of the Committee on Constitutional Review of in 2009. As a leader by nature and inclination, today, Honorable Barrister Orji Uchenna Orji is currently making waves as Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Ebonyi State. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And our focus today on platform will be economic development agenda of Ebonyi State. Like I stated earlier, we have a lot of questions to ask, and I won't be the only one doing that. I have a panelist join me in the studio. Please make welcome Dele Atumbi. He is our judiciary correspondent. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Always nice to have you. So, Honorable Commissioner, once again, you're welcome to platform.
Thank you very much.
A lot has been seen, heard, and said about Ebonyi State. For you, you have served, in different areas in the state. What would you say was the vision of the present administration, for all the successes we're seeing today?
Thank you very much. In 2015, we had an opportunity of having on board a former party chairman, as it were, a former deputy governor, who consecutively became governor, and of course became the first deputy governor in the history of the world to become governor, the stiff opposition of his master. And it came at a time we had economic recession, and a boy being down the ladder in federal allocation. Plus the fact that Ebonyi State, the party at that time, lost at the center. So it was like a moment of counting, a kind of, challenges. But the governor was not deterred by all of these, and he had to develop a blueprint. And on doing that, he looked at the critical sectors of economic development, including infrastructure, including health, education, agriculture, of course, security, and of course, good governance, broadly speaking. And so when he did develop all of these blueprints, he tackled head-on the issue of infrastructure. At that time, Ebonyi, of course, was a place that you would say nothing good was, coming to in terms of infrastructure and human capital development. And so he aggressively pursued road construction in order to connect the entire nooks and crannies of the entire state. Knowing that Ebonyi State is an agrarian state that only thrives in agriculture, of course, in quarry and mining. And so he started. And today, as I speak with you, we have over 1,500 kilometers state road built by our dear governor.
Okay, we'll definitely break down, the infrastructural development. But let's look at the outlay, the plan. What was his strategy? We've seen different administration, come up at different states, even at the federal level. Everybody has like you said, he brought a blueprint. Everybody has a plan. What was his own outlay, before strategizing and achieving some of this?
As a matter of fact, the governor looked at the various local government areas of comparative advantage, areas where we have debts of infrastructure, and areas where we need to take advantage of our comparative advantage. He also looked at the need to really mainstream the women, to bring the women on board, the youths on board, to drive the governance process of the state. And also he looked at passion, those that will work with him, the lieutenants, the commissioners, appointees that will work with him to ensure that his aspirations and vision in making Ebonyi State the economic hub of Southeast is actualized. And so he had to say, look at his aspiration. He had a five-fold covenant of one, leading with the fear of God, and two, ensuring that he brings on board those economic facilities that will really trigger job creation, wealth creation, that will make for self-sufficiency and self-reliance.
Okay, so we're going to take them one at a time. And we're not just dwelling on the achievements. We're looking at a roadmap. We're looking at how the lessons to be learned. We're looking at those gray areas. I know Dele wants to ask a question, so go ahead.
We'll definitely start from the point of infrastructural development. one of the social contracts between the governor and the people is to develop the infrastructure in the state. How far have you gone when it comes to the issue of infrastructural development have been able in state? And not only that, the pace of work on the airport project, how far have you gone?
As a matter of fact, the governor in his second tenure did introduce the issue of airport. And to us, to so many people, it was like a mirage that wouldn't come to reality. But today, as I speak with you, the governor, of course, did get approval from Mr. President, became the first governor to get approval from Mr. President, President Muhammad Buhari, for the construction of an international airport. He got this approval and started to develop. Today, we are having no less than 60% completion. And this airport is sitting on 4 kilometer by 4 kilometer land and 3.5 kilometer runway, making Ebonyi State International Airport, when fully completed, to be one of the 3 biggest in Nigeria. We're looking at Abuja and Lagos International Airport, and we are looking at having a choice in air transportation, whereby, apart from Lagos and Abuja, one would say, flying from any part of the world, that the next place you would like to land is Ebonyi State because of the facilities. He's a man that has test, the man whose infrastructure is durable, is long-lasting, is a legacy that outlives his generation. And I can tell you that he has got almost 60% of the equipment on ground. He has procured all of that.
But if you talk to an average Ebonyi person, there is this belief that there is this slow pace of work on this project.
I am not sure you are correct. Some would only say that they don't need airport because they needed to be educated on the importance of airport. But the pace of work, I can tell you that no any national airport in the history of Nigeria has garnered that kind of pace of work that we have in Ebonyi State. Today we are over 60% completion with necessary equipment on ground procured. Okay. And I can tell you that the governor is looking at a PPP arrangement to get investors to come and manage and ensure sustainability of the airport. And we are looking at Ethiopian airports, looking at the business incentives, business initiatives in Ethiopian airport that is, capable of having the propensity of triggering economic development, increasing or enhancing IGR, internally generated revenue, and creating job, creating wealth, and making Ebonyi State to be an investment destination. We're looking at attracting investment from not only local, that is from Nigeria, but outside the shores of this country and this continent. And when that is done, you will see that Ebonyi State will be the destination even in tourism.
Now, of course, from what you're saying, there's so much to see from what you have said. But no nation, of course, can thrive if there is no, they say health is wealth. Part of this infrastructural development, are you taking it, is the state government taking it to the rural communities? Because you're aware that majority of the fatalities we record when it comes to maternal health or child mortality rates and all of that mostly fall in the rural communities because of lack of access to health care, primary health care. What has been done in the rural communities in terms of development?
The governor's developmental plan is very holistic and comprehensive. For us to have a good and accessible primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare facility or system, as it were, we need to have accessible road, social amenities, including potable waters in all of these facilities. And that governor has really done. Now, as I speak with you, every of the 171 wards has a working, functional primary healthcare facility. And every of the local government, 13 local government that we have, has a functional secondary healthcare facility, talking about general hospital, fully, completely renovated in some cases and constructed in some cases, and also fully furnished. And as I speak with you, all the places are motorable. Today, Ebonyi State is a global village. From any part of the state, you can move to any hospital. Now, let me tell you something. The kind of tertiary healthcare facility we want, or we have, as it were, or we are going to have any moment is a world class. Now we have what is called Africa's biggest college of medicine. This college of medicine is under construction. He did conceptualize it. He's also completing it. It is about 80% completed. That very college of medicine is heaven on earth. It's a world class.
That is a project still
Under construction.
It's under construction. It's 80% completion. That's what I mentioned. And I want to say something about it. It is a center of excellence for the treatment of heart diseases. All of these rare diseases, including cancer problems, including liver problems, even liver transplant and all of that. Now, one thing that is unique about this College of Medicine is that it has a dialysis center, and it's going to be the only one in the entire Africa.
Okay, let me hold your thoughts there. You've not really answered the question I'm asking. I'm talking about the rural communities. I know in the urban centers, great work, fantastic development is going on there. But like you said, you can't get access to those places without good roads. And when you have those good roads, when the people are not in good health, how do you sustain your achievements? So
That's...
in the rural communities, what is being done to ensure access to healthcare?
Thank you very much. In addition to all of these facilities I mentioned at the rural, especially the primary healthcare facility, we have a street light system that has not less than 20 kilometers per local government. And every of these primary healthcare facilities has a functional street light system, and we are looking at solar power street light system. This is also available in all the secondary healthcare facilities. And again, the governor, apart from putting access road to all of these rural communities, what did he do? He had to develop what is called a ring road project. He's working with necessary development partners to ensure that not less than 8 local government areas are connected with ring road. And these are the areas that are ordinarily very remote, far from the metropolis and the satellite towns. Now, apart from that, the governor is ensuring that we have water, pipe-borne water, and also boreholes where there is no pipe-borne water in the rural communities. But beyond all of this, he made Ebonyi State a global village so that it wouldn't take you up to an hour to go from any part of Ebonyi to the other part. And in inciting all of these facilities, economic-driven facilities, he's looking at locations that will impact on the rural communities. So the concentration of all of these facilities are not in the metropolis. For instance, Africa's biggest college of medicine is in a community outside the metropolis. The national airport is within 2 local government areas outside the metropolis. And now so many other, including even industrial clusters that the governor is building, they are located in rural communities so that the entire Ebonyi State will be like a global village where you have a comparative advantage, whether in agriculture, whether in mining. Certain facilities will be sited for you to have an access. And this has made Ebonyi State to be, I can say, a potential economic hub of Southeast.
Discussing the health sector, taking a look at the health sector now. If you take a look at in 2020, the government renovated 2 general hospitals in 20 days. Where are we of that? Beyond the renovation of this hospital, how well equipped are the general hospitals for the people, especially in the rural areas?
Thank you for that question. I have told you the governor, apart from renovating where necessary general hospitals and completing the construction and even getting comprehensive construction of general hospital, he had to procure equipment to furnish some of these hospitals.
Some?
Yes. Some. Yes. Now, why he says so is that before he came on board, we had existing general hospitals, and some that were not furnished, that were not equipped before he came. He had to furnish or rather equip them. And that is why, as I speak with you today, we are doing a lot to address the issue of COVID-19. We had to decentralize a treatment center for COVID-19, and we use some of these facilities as a COVID-19 treatment center, and that has really helped us a lot. What else do we do about raising the capacity of personnel and upgrading the personnel capacity? The governor had to really construct what we call the School of Nursing and Midwifery, and that is the biggest in the Southeast and one of the biggest in Nigeria. Now, the idea is that through this school, or rather, School of Nursing and Midwifery, capacity of the nurses will be raised and those, medical officials. Now, apart from this, we also have School of Health. More. That School of Health is also a school that is geared towards raising the capacity of medical personnel. I did not tell you again that we have Nigeria's single biggest hospital complex, confirmed by the Federal Minister of Health. That was built by our governor, completed, and he handed over to the federal government for the medical services in the federal university that is there, the Alexa Kweme University. And that has really added impetus to the medical services, as it were, of that.
With the infrastructural development you've explained, how has this affected maternal and child care delivery in Ebonyi State?
I tell you that in 2018, the World Bank had a deliberate assessment of the medical, or rather maternal mortality ratio or index of every state. Do you know what happened? Ebonyi State was said to be above average. When they World Bank compared that with even that of the federal government maternal mortality ratio, they said it's even bigger, better than that of the federal government. So our health development has been really given attention. For the governor, it's beyond health development. He's looking at health as an aspect of human capital development. Okay. Because you need to be healthy before you go to work, before you even eat, before you even look for empowerment and all of that. So it is part of his human capital development initiative.
And it's good you just mentioned human capital development. You have served as Commissioner for Human Capital Development and Monitoring. And that has been proven, talking about human capital development, as one of the surest way if you're talking about sustained developmental growth anywhere in the world. What is the state government doing in that regard, to ensure that the capacity, to improve human capacity development is sustained in the state?
Yeah, like I did say, health is one of the aspects of human capital development. Sorry. And again, education to the governor is very fundamental, very critical, very
issue of education. I think human capital has to do with the people in the civil service.
Yes. You're talking about their capacity.
How have you been able to develop the capacity of the people in the civil service?
Yeah, human capital is broad-based. And I'm arriving gradually to all of these issues. If you are talking about human capital of the civil servants, and of course the public servants, as it were, the governor has done a lot. Do you know what he did? He had to release 4 billion naira as empowerment program for the civil servant. For the governor, he does not believe that white-collar job is all there is. Even if you are paid 100,000 per month, it's not going to be enough to satisfy your livelihood. What did the governor do? He had to introduce what we call second address system. What does it mean? That as a civil servant or public servant, do not rely comprehensively on your salary. You need to do something, and he will release this money for civil servants to now assess. Now, this civil servant assessed between 200,000 and 1 million to really make for second address. And they were given all the latitude, all the leverage in the primary, secondary, and tertiary level of agriculture. You can do anything in agriculture because, of course, it's only in agriculture that a civil servant can go and do business. And this has, enhanced the living standard of the civil servant. I tell you one thing. Every of our empowerment program, the governor ensures that everybody does benefit. Because the first criteria is that you must have a business plan. Second criteria is that you must be ready to be part of the monitoring process, to submit yourself for monitoring. And so we have the NSAS empowerment program for youth and women. The civil servants are also part of it. We have empowerment program for youth and women, what we call a youth women empowerment. We had the governor release 750 million grant. That has been assessed. Civil servants also benefited from it. You also have what we call widow empowerment program, where the governor released 400 million, 300,000 for widows, but then parents of the poor widows. And civil servants who are categorized as parents of the poor widows are also beneficiaries. We also have empowerment program for what we call for street hawkers. Now we call it Street to Skill Empowerment Program. The governor released 130 million. Now the children of these civil servants benefited. Those who were in Lagos hawking the streets of Lagos. Because the governor thinks that Ebonyi State was known before he came on board, for straight hawking. So he has to do something differently to change the situation, to change the status of our people. And today I can tell you that the number has reduced drastically. He did the same even in Anambra State, where he procured 400 tricycles at a total sum of 260 million.
So as the Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, how would you ascertain that some of these projects, some of these empowerments that the state government has carried out to empower the people is being regulated effectively and the right people are benefiting from it? Because it sounds so rosy, like everybody's benefiting from it. But how would you ascertain that?
Yeah, what we did as government is to ensure that we interface, we engage the traditional rulers, the town union presidents, different organizations like the NUJ, the Civil Servants Union, that's an LC, and they'll give us nominations based on need, based on interest, based on skill, based on passion. Of course, the conditions will be there, one of which is that you must have what I call a business plan. You must also be ready to submit yourself to monitoring and evaluation. Again, we have a monitoring and evaluation process whereby we engaged the beneficiaries themselves and provide them into an organization that is called Governor Mahi Empowerment Beneficiaries Association. In each ward they are there. Every day they meet. They have peer review. They have a kind of monitoring of their fellow beneficiaries. And where there is any issue of non-performance, they will report. And in some cases, you will blacklist. In some cases, you are encouraged. In some cases, you are reprimanded. And where you are doing well, we had to introduce what is called a Millionaire Club. That is a reward system whereby we now get you on board into what we call the Governor Mahi Hall of Fame. For those that have done very, very well, you are giving 1 million naira extra to encourage you, and we do that publicly. And that has really put everybody on his or her toes, ensure that he does, produce what is expected, or he does perform as expected. And I can tell you that this has made for self-reliance, self-sufficient. That is why even in Ebonyi State, you can be sure that criminality has reduced drastically. I want to tell you one thing that I may forget if I don't tell you now. Ebonyi State today is a construction site. Everywhere you go, you see construction going on. Who are the people working as skilled, non-skilled, semi-skilled level? They are indigenous or non-indigenous who are resident. I tell you, even contractors. And the governor does something. Most of the job he does on direct labor using civil servants. That's another area civil servants also benefit. He uses civil servants. I can tell you today, we have a total of 13 number flyovers. And apart from Lagos and Abuja, but it's now by virtue of this, the next in terms of highest number of flyovers. You may say, what is the sense at this point? We are planning Ebonyi in such a way that if God tarries in the next 100 years, you don't need to come back and say, if I had known, I would have done this. We are planning Ebonyi so that in the next 50, 100 years, we will have investment that will be in Ebonyi State, and the traffic in Ebonyi State will not be, an uneasy one.
And it's good you mentioned that the crime rate in the state has reduced, but intercommunal clashes still thrives. And what would you say regarding that area? What efforts has the state government put in place to ensure that communities broker peace?
I concede to you that of recent we are having pockets of communal clash, interstate, boundary disputes. Understandably, the governor had to open up all the rural communities. And being an agrarian state, people are now much more conscious about land ownership, land dominion, more than ever. And I agree with you that recently we have had an increased case of communal clash. What is the governor doing? The governor has done a lot, apart from fortifying the security architecture, making them to be very proactive, taking some preventive measures to tackle criminalities. The governor has also brought on board the civilian vigilantes, the civilian security outfit. And apart from having what we call a neighborhood watch, which will of course now integrate into the Bubago of Southeast.
That's the Southeast.
Now the governor had to, just a couple of weeks ago, had to really inject 1,000 more number of vigilante. What he did was to get in every community. We have 140 autonomous communities. Every community, you now give him a 5 number, that is 700 in number. Then the satellite towns and the metropolis, he now drew up 300 number. These 300 number will be supervising the 4,000 number and neighborhood watch or vigilante group, as it were, to ensure that they collaborate, they cooperate, and they consult with the conventional security agencies to police our communities.
But just before you continue, I know Dele wants to ask question in that regard, but very quickly from what you said, the Ebube Agu, before now, the governor was, looking at the challenge of the deployment of personnel for one state, having a regional security outfit. He was not really in support of it. So what changed?
I think I need to take you through his position on all of this. And that is the position till now. There is no place in each of the 6 geopolitical zones that you practice regionalism. There cannot be, strictly speaking, under the Constitution, what is called regional security outfit. What we have in Southeast and what Southwest has is a joint zonal security outfit. They have one intelligence, they have one coordination, they have cooperation, they have consultation, they have a central unit whereby instructions are dished out and there will be peer review. And so that is what government of this, or governments as it were of the Southeast, did on the 11th day of April 2021. It is not strictly speaking regional. There is no governor general of the Southeast. There is no governor general of the Southwest. If you go to a metricum of Southwest, each state has its control. The control is state-based, but they have commonality of law, commonality of intention, and we are talking about cooperation, collaboration, and coordination of the security system. And that's what the governors of Southeast have done.
Talking about cooperation and coordination, how effective has the security apparatus of Ebonyi State been in ensuring that all these communal clashes are nipped in the bud?
I tell you that stakeholders are brought on board, are engaged, are interfaced with. The security officials are made to be on the guard all the time. Of course, do you know we have a CCTV camera in strategic locations in the Ebonyi State? We have what we call CCTV viewing centers.
Are they being monitored?
They are being monitored effectively. And you know what? You have to separate normal crimes from communal clashes. They are automatic. It's brought out of sentiment. And when it comes, sometimes you cannot prevent it, but you manage it, you control it. Because the issue is interest. Sometimes it beats security, fortification, whatever. And so you have to know that in the area of crime, like banditry, armed robbery, kidnapping, Ebonyi State has one of the minimal records. Go and ask IGP's record. What we are battling to settle is this issue of clashes, which will soon be settled. What do you want to do? We want to ensure that we have a permanent demarcation for intra-community boundary issues. But for interstate boundary issues, we have engaged strongly the National Boundary Commission. They have severally come to Ebonyi State, severally come to Enugu, engaged Enugu, Ebonyi, Ebonyi, Cross River, engaged Ebonyi, Abia. And we are working towards ensuring a permanent solution to all the issues of insecurity. Again, I want to say that this social media menace has been a plague in governments.
We'll address that issue, but how is the government addressing this matter of Effium and Eza Effium community issue?
Actually, it is really a pathetic story.
Because it has lingered for a long time
Yes,
now.
we are a group of people have been living together for decades, for more than 100 years. All of a sudden, either from accumulated problems, endurances of conflict, the thing triggered, the thing blew up. And what government did was to ensure that it holds stakeholders responsible. As I speak with you, stakeholders who by the action and inaction did abate this crisis have been put behind bars, and they are going to be prosecuted. And government is really going direct to the youths and women to talk to them. Actually, they need to know that there is need to know that war is not good, but to Georgia is the way to go. And even if you deploy all the security, all the armed forces to that place, of course, you know there will be casualties. And so we are looking at using softer methods, that is dialogue, engagement, talking to their sensibilities, to really return to the path of peace, to really recognize that we are living together. I think that, this time, all of these things will be solved.
Okay, and it's good you are the Commissioner for Information and State Orientation. In terms of sensitization of the people to live as one people, broker peace and all of that, how has your office, delivered?
Thank you for that question. My office actually has a challenge of how to really show to the world what their governor has done. And a challenge of ensuring that advocacies go to the rural communities. But we are equal to the task by the power of God. We are using our different media platforms. We're also interfacing with the Fourth Estate to see how at this point we can really emphasize on development journalism than sensational journalism. We are talking to them to see how we can bring down our pen to begin to engage professionally, engage individually, to see that all of these tensions are brought down. We're also using the local platforms, the town criers, engagement with traditional rulers, of course, the council chairmen, to ensure that they get our people to understand that peace is all there is for development to thrive. To get the people to understand that there cannot be development without peace, without love for one another. To appreciate the need to tolerate even the indigenous and non-indigenous. To tolerate even herdsmen, tolerate even strangers that are in our place, provided always that everybody is willing to really be law-abiding.
Going beyond the level of people just being law-abiding, sensitization of the people too is equally important. If the people know what is right, they are not likely to do that which is wrong. How far have you gone on this?
Yeah, that is part of our mandate. Ministry of Information, State Orientation. Giving orientation to our people is part of our mandate. And we have done our best by going down to the rural communities. We have a department of public enlightenment, and we have used that department and their mandate to ensure that we talk to the people. But you do know that the fact is that before now, Ebonyi State was like a dark state where nothing good was coming from. Today, we are trying to migrate from being a civil servant state to a state whereby it can be self-reliant, it can be on your own. And these are the issues that will indeed settle all of this problem. When I am not hungry, when I have something doing, when I think that if I engage in violence, it will affect my business, then we will now have to, lay down our arms. And that is what the governor is working hard to ensure that there will be boom, let me use that word, boom, in economic development. And that's when investors will come and make for industrialization in our state. When you are engaged in one industry or the other, in one factory or the other, doing something gainfully and fending for your family, you may not have all the time to go into war. And when all of these things are done, I can tell you that it will help in our sensitization processes.
But pending the, investment opportunities, the prospect for it in the near future, like you're saying, engaging these youths, most of them, this youth restiveness is one aspect that has really caused a lot of conflicts. When they're idle, they don't have jobs. I know you've mentioned some of the empowerment program the state government has engaged them in. What about expanding the scope for agriculture, agribusiness? How well have they, been fully utilized to look at the potential therein?
We really understand our advantage or comparative advantage is in agriculture.
Yes.
And it's in inquiry or, if you like, solid mineral. And so in the area of agriculture, incidentally, I was commissioner for 2 years in the first tenure we started it. I can tell you that the governor, as it were, has continued to take advantage of the numerous federal government and CBN agricultural program. We need to appreciate and commend Mr. President, for he has really given impetus to agricultural development beyond any administration that came before him. We have taken advantage in anchor borrowers. Today, every year we turn out 53,000 number farmers. They are given an average of 250,000, that is cost of a hectare of land, not only for cultivation of rice, for cassava, but even in animal husbandry. But you need to have equivalent of 1 hectare of land. We'll call it 1 man, 1 hectare, 1 woman, 1 hectare of agri program. Then we now introduce what is called commercialization and mechanization of agriculture to reduce drudgery, to bring about interest of youths, women, and graduates in agriculture. So the governor procured several machinery, including bulldozers for land development, land preparation, having regard to the nature of our land, our farm. Now, the governor also procured several tractors, gave to cooperatives free of charge. He also procured seeders, planters, harvesters, and gave to cooperative. And now he's encouraging farmers every year with grants, in some cases facilities, to procure seedlings to really go into agriculture.
Are the youths interested in this project?
They are very much interested. Do you know what? The governor also made us to take advantage in our potentiality in processing. Of course, understandably, we have about 5,000 square meters or something, I can't remember. So we don't have enough land. So what did we do? We took advantage in processing. Today we have Africa's biggest rice milling plant owned by government. I tell you, we have 32 metric ton capacity per hour. Government-owned rice mill.
Is it destoning?
Oh my God. Today we banned foreign rice consumption in Ebonyi State. Consumption, I'm not talking of sale, I'm not talking of importation. Do you know why? The rice of Ebonyi State is the best. In fact, I can say in the whole world, perhaps I'm exaggerating.
You are talking
Maybe
about
Abakaliki rice that has been modernized, destoning everything. And we have a parboiling plant. I don't know if I've...
Well, let's take a look at this issue of UN Climate Smart Agriculture Program aimed at promoting women economic empowerment. It was launched last year. How has this affected the economic empowerment of women in Ebonyi State?
Yeah, I know that under the Millennium Development Goal, number 5 or something, women empowerment is one of the critical issues, and federal government has done a lot to really ensure that they launch empowerment programs and agricultural programs that will favor the women. We have a unit in Ebonyi State that really coordinates the issue of empowerment of the women. And I can tell you that today, as I speak, we have taken advantage of that launch of that program to profile our women, 1010 pay cooperative, for them to access different funds, grants, to go into agriculture. And we're looking at not just the women, even the young graduates, our young women, both in civil service, both those, doing business and those, in public service. And today the governor has also empowered a lot of women so that they can help to coordinate all of this. Today we have an executive council of about 110, the highest in the whole Nigeria, I'm telling you. Out of this, we have no less than 20 female executive council members in strategic ministries and departments, MDAs. And again, through this, they have really helped in mobilizing the women in the rural communities to participate in the various agri programs of both the federal government and state government.
So let's look at education, because the girl child, because we're talking about women, but you have to educate the girl child before she becomes that woman. The role of the state government in ensuring that girl child get more girl children get enrolled in schools.
As a matter of fact, the wife of our dear Governor, Her Excellency Chief Mrs. Rachel Oganomai, has a foundation that is called the Family Circle and Upliftment Foundation, or program as it were. And it's looking at primarily, as a matter of priority, the girl child, the widows, the less privileged. And her pet project has been integrated in the body program of the administration. What do I mean? Everything about the empowerment of the girl child. That pet project has really ensured that it is really projected and promoted. Today we have a program on education that is called Out of School Children. The governor injected 7 billion naira to train the teachers, to equip them, to also get the necessary facilities for for the education of the girl child, for the education of the young ones. And today we are having a program whereby it is compulsory for every girl child, of course, even the boy child, to be taken out from the street. And you are compulsorily enrolled, and you are giving scholarship. You're also giving counseling for you to appreciate that even though you are out of school, that you have all the privilege or the latitude to have free education, to really upgrade yourself and be a future leader, as it were.
One would be interested in the area of this free education. How free is education in Ebonyi State?
In Ebonyi State, even though education cannot be totally free, as a matter of fact, but the governor is looking at those vulnerable persons.
Why can't it be totally free?
Yeah, one, education, of course, you know, is in the concurrent list. We share a lot of things in common with the federal government. And so at this point, we have got no program that makes primary, secondary, and tertiary school free at the federal level. And so we have to be an obedient child, you know, of course, coupled with the fact that we have positive fund. But what is important is that government gives attention to education. Today we have a kind of classroom block that is world class, at least 2 in each ward. And that shows that we are giving incentive for our young children that are in primary and secondary school. We have what is called school agricultural program, whereby governor rolls out money in millions to schools. What does he want to achieve? He wants to show that these young brains, that what they eat is known, what they eat is fresh, it's not like imported food, so that they can develop their brain. Of course, we now partnered with the federal government school feeding program. So we get this, the food fresh from the farm. They will cultivate it. And the government will now buy and now feed them. And we are doing a lot to feed our pupils, of course, even our students. And that is part of the incentive in education that is akin to free education.
Okay, and it's good that the federal government has approved the alternate school program, which has been headed by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Very soon we'll be seeing that happen for children, especially for children out of school. Now, let's, as we wind down, I know there's a whole lot we've talked about that the state government has achieved. We've looked at all different sectors of it. Now, for the future, what is the projection for Ebonyi State?
Yeah, we are looking at a future that will be bright for the people of Ebonyi State, having regard to the various facilities that will trigger economic development. Today, we have completed the construction of Africa's biggest shopping mall. You need to see it in the screen. The biggest. Mr. Bruce of Silverbird came and said he has traveled wide, far and near, and he has never seen a mall as big as that, constructed, conceptualized, and constructed by this our dear governor. That we have about 5,000 plus number modern shops with a lot of facilities. This is going to trigger economic regeneration. We have the international market. The international market, we call it Margaret Umahi International Market. This international market is the biggest in Southeast of all places. Ebonyi now has the biggest international market, and one of the 3 biggest in Nigeria. Of course, the most beautiful. You need to see it. Now, we also have other facilities. We have an ecumenical center that is bigger than National Ecumenical Center, but it's a multifunctional ecumenical center or center. Apart from spiritual enrichment, it also hosts conferences. Through that, we have economic regeneration through generation of revenues and all of that. We also have so many other...
Barrister, let me hold your thoughts there. You have mentioned a lot of this infrastructural development. I'm talking about the future. What do you want to see sustained as part of all these achievements that has been done? There is the issue of continuity. What policies, you know, has been put in place to ensure that some of these achievements are sustained in continuation?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the governor believes in sustainability as the way to go. What did he do? He had to introduce what is called mentorship program. In this mentorship program, we have over 1,000 number technical assistants, senior technical assistants, and executive assistants. These are people who have done well in their various careers, and they are now collated. And now they are being given mentorship. Our governor is really an institution. So they are understudying him. This is a man of passion, a man of good governance. His monitoring and evaluation process is so amazing. And so people are understudying him. To know how to be selfless as an office holder, to know that as an office holder you are there to serve the people. You shouldn't be richer than the people. So he is going to ensure that his succession plan factors all of these people that are being mentored. And of course, the issue of introduction of women empowerment, or rather women mainstreaming and affirmative action. He thinks that we need to integrate women, because if you integrate women in the body governance, you will see that when you build a woman, you have built a nation. Because these women have managerial skill. They are also very fear. They have a fear of God, and so the governor is bringing all of this on board to ensure that his succession will have all of these kind of persons. Now, he's making legislations, especially in the area of investment, legislation that will make it impossible for successive governments to really, either stop any investment or destroy any investment that is being in place.
Okay, I know Mr. Dele has a final question before we round up.
Well, some of these things have been done for the people of Ebonyi State. In future, how is the government placing these people for them to be able to take advantage of all these economic developmental projects that the government has done?
Barrister, you have to answer that in 1 minute. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the governor actually has a robust plan of integrating the people of Ebonyi into the investments. And so he gave opportunity for people to invest under public partnership, where SPV will be raised. Also, people to also have opportunity of buying maybe shops and getting involved directly in the economic development process of the state. And that is really going to help our people.
All right, Barrister Oji Uchenna Oji, Commissioner for Information and State Orientation. You have done well orienting us, letting us into the know of what the state government has achieved and what is on the pipeline. Thank you very much for coming on platform. We wish the state government success, and we'll definitely keep our eyes on the prize. Thank you.
Thank you once again.
All right. Dele Atumbi, our judiciary correspondent, NTA, thank you for your time with us here on platform.
It's wonderful to be here.
All right, we've been talking about economic development agenda of Ebonyi State. One state out of the 36 in the FCT of Nigeria. Let's continue to do what is right, because the growth of our nation is work in progress. If you do what is right, we'll definitely benefit what we're supposed to benefit. Thank you very much for your time with us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.